Greetings everyone, welcome to official channel of Law Prep Tutorial. I am your mentor Vardhan Sir, back with the sixth episode of revision through MCQs. And as you know, we are going to discuss 40 questions that we had given you in this sixth episode of CLAT Panchayat. And post that, we will discuss some of the key facts also, which are there, very important. How was the difficulty level of this particular test? It was easy. Now easy to moderate, now moderate to difficult, simply easy. How were the questions? Questions were very, very direct. So if you had just read the newspapers or the CLAT Express, you would have got most of the topics. Students, those who don't have access to CLAT Express, had access to newspapers, would have got it. Okay? So direct questions were there. And that is why I would not say कि इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा difficulty आपको आनी चाहिए. So first of all, which country is the biggest trading partner of India within the EFTA bloc? Now EFTA bloc, as you see, includes non-European countries, non-European Union countries, non-EU countries, and all of these, Iceland, जिसको मैंने आपको NILS नाम से पढ़ाया था, NILS नाम से, so that's Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Switzerland. And the answer is largest trading partner is Switzerland. Why? Because India imports gold. India imports gold. This is why it is the largest trading partner. India imports gold. Good evening Anamika, good evening Komal, Soumya, Harar Mahadev, Priya Sharma, Kabir Roy, hello, LPT 26, hello. Alright, 32.50 out of 40. Hi sir, आपने विनोद भैया को भी पढ़ाया है AIR 10. The Vinod भैया is at AIR 21 if you are talking about the same Vinod. Okay, so इसका आंसर ये होगा. नेक्स्ट पे चलेंगे, नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे आएंगे. एंड second question was, according to the commerce ministry, Indian companies can look to Switzerland as a base for extending their market reach to which other economic bloc? Easiest question, इससे ज्यादा difficult, easy कुछ हो नहीं सकता था. The answer is European Union. Switzerland could be an entry for India into European Union. इसका भी आंसर क्लियर था. नेक्स्ट पे आएंगे. Which of the following statements about India EFTA trade and economic partnership agreement is correct? And this was difficult. Okay. कबीर रॉय मेरे को पहचाना क्या नहीं, प्लीज रिमाइंड करिए, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा एग्जैक्टली. ओके. Which of the following statement is correct? The agreement guarantees tariff-free gold imports from EFTA countries. तो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, कोई भी कंट्री आपको गोल्ड टैरिफ फ्री करके तो नहीं देगी. देगी क्या? कोई भी कंट्री आपको टैरिफ फ्री करके गोल्ड इंपोर्ट तो नहीं करेगी. कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं ना, ऑयल हो गया, गोल्ड हो गया, कोल हो गया, जिस पे आप टैरिफ रिमूव नहीं कर सकते. इस पे टैरिफ्स तो लगेंगे ही लगेंगे. Well, who knows? India will receive a committed investment of 100 billion from EFTA countries over 15 years. This is directly given. जो EFTA हुआ है, फ्री ट्रेड एसोसिएशन के साथ जो एग्रीमेंट हुआ है, उसका पर्पस ही यही है कि हम $100 बिलियन का फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट करवा रहे हैं अगले 15 साल तक. Only Switzerland and Norway are included in EFTA. C eliminated. Paper does not address the creation of jobs in India. Now, if you will look into the answer will be B, because otherwise बाकी सारे ऑप्शंस क्या रहते हैं, गलत हो जाते हैं. आप बात करिए ओनली स्विट्जरलैंड, तो ये तो एलिमिनेट कर ही दिया था, पहला वाला भी एलिमिनेट कर दिया था. डज नॉट एड्रेस द क्रिएशन ऑफ जॉब्स इन इंडिया. तो हमेशा याद रखिएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड जॉब्स, इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड जॉब्स के बीच में डायरेक्ट कोरिलेशन होता है. कैसा रिलेशन होता है? डायरेक्ट कोरिलेशन. जितना ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट आप बढ़ाएंगे उतना ज्यादा जॉब अवेलेबिलिटी या एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी बढ़ेगा. क्या मुझे वॉइस स्लो आ रही है या आप सबको भी? प्लीज इस चीज को इंडिकेट करिएगा, क्या ऑडियो प्रॉब्लम किसी एक को है कि सबको है. दैट वी नीड टू चेक. इसीलिए आपने डी एलिमिनेट किया तो ये एलिमिनेट हो गया, आपने अगर सी एलिमिनेट किया तो ये एलिमिनेट हो गया। ए और बी में आपको कंफ्यूजन होना चाहिए था, आंसर इसका बी है, आंसर इसका बी है। लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट। Over 80% of India's imports covered by the TIPA from EFTA are primarily, तो आपको पता है मोस्ट ऑफ द इंपोर्ट्स जो हमारा इस कंट्री से होता है तो सबसे ज्यादा महंगा जो अमाउंट है वो गोल्ड है, इसीलिए इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर गोल्ड होगा। फोर्थ के बाद फिफ्थ क्वेश्चन की बात करेंगे। Which of the following statement is are correct regarding India's trade negotiations? इंडिया के ट्रेड नेगोशिएशन के संदर्भ में कौन से वचन जो है वो सही हैं? ये आपको ऐसे हिंदी की जरूरत नहीं होती है। सर मेरा दोस्त भी एलपीटी में पढ़ा था, तेजस को नाम है, शुरू कर दिया तुम लोगों ने हरकतें है, प्लूटो सेवन। चलो यहाँ पे आते हैं। इंडिया इज यूजिंग स्विट्जरलैंड एज अ बेस टू एक्सेस ईयू मार्केट्स। इंडिया इज यूजिंग स्विट्जरलैंड एज अ बेस टू एक्सेस ईयू मार्केट्स। इज दिस नॉट ट्रू? Switzerland as a base to access EU markets. India avoids trade deals with competitive economies. Why will you avoid a trade deal? China is a competitive economy. China is a competitive economy. Okay. Australia is a competitive economy. South Africa, Brazil is a competitive economy. Taiwan is also a competitive economy to an extent. Do we avoid trade deals with such economies? You eliminate just two, and thereby you will find two is eliminated, two is eliminated, two is eliminated, and you are left with only one viable option. So by eliminating only one statement, that is two, you can reach to the correct answer, and that is why common sense, always use common sense. Why would India avoid dealing with competitive economies? India will likely possibility that India will engage with these competitive economies. किसी को कोई समस्या, कोई परेशानी, कोई संघर्ष? हेलो देवा, हाय बसवराज। Any problem so far in understanding these topics? Any problem so far? No? All good? 5 में से 5 किसके आए हैं? बेटा वॉइस तो नहीं है, वॉइस तो ठीक है, चिल्ला के नहीं पढ़ा सकता ना मैं। कुशल जैन प्लीज थोड़ा वो कर लीजिएगा, अपनी ऑडियो तेज कर लीजिएगा, मतलब मैं चेक कर लेता हूँ मेरी वॉइस कम आ रही है। सो आई बिलीव अब सही हो जाएगी वॉइस। सो आई बिलीव अब सही हो जाएगी, राइट? सो इट इज नॉट कूल। सर मॉक्स का रिजल्ट कब पब्लिश होगा? इट विल टेक अनदर 2 to 3 days। एज यू नो प्रॉपर ओएमआर जो है वो मशीन्स के जो स्कैन होकर रिजल्ट पब्लिश हुआ है, तो ऑलरेडी ओपन मोड में आप पंच करके पोर्टल पे तो डायरेक्टली अपना रिजल्ट पता कर सकते हैं, लेकिन ये प्रॉपर एग्जामिनेशन प्रोसेस की तरह कंडक्ट हुआ है एग्जामिनेशन। तो क्लैट कंसोर्शियम को रिजल्ट पब्लिश करने में 10 दिन लगता है, तो आपको 10 दिन तो नहीं, हाँ 3-4 दिन लग सकते हैं, क्योंकि एक एक ओएमआर मशीन में जा रही है, स्कैन हो रही है, और रिजल्ट कंप्यूटर बेस्ड तरीके से जैसे जनरेट होता है ऑफलाइन का वैसे जनरेट हो रहा है। ठीक है, एआई वेब के आंसर की का पीडीएफ है मेरे पास, ठीक है, अच्छी बात है। सर मेरे ऑल इंडिया में 90.75 आ रहे हैं। डोंट वरी, दिस Aditya, this all India open form which was conducted was relatively very very easy, very doable, very direct, and exactly the replica of CLAT examination. So again, 90.75 is a decent score to get there, but it's not a score to be happy about. Okay. Sir, I am from Tamil Nadu. I can't understand English. Can you communicate in English also, sir? Lavanya, I have no issues in communicating with English, plain English, but please try to understand this particular live is also watched by a lot of students who are from Kannada dialect, who are from Marathi dialect, who are from Gujarati dialect. Now I cannot be, ignoring them because to an extent you have to acclimatize with the understanding of the Hindi also. For you, I would like to keep it English. Uh, I mean, if I had known Tamil, I would have used Tamil statements as well. But there are other audience also because of which मुझे थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी बोलना पड़ता है. ठीक है? All right. सर सीआर में थोड़ी दिक्कत आ रही है. चलो पहले ये टॉपिक कर लेते हैं. मेरा जो पहला क्वेश्चन था फ्लैट पंचायत के ये जो 5 क्वेश्चंस आपने देखे हैं, फर्स्ट 5 क्वेश्चंस, दिस इज विद रेस्पेक्ट टू इंडिया EFTA partnership on economy, free trade agreement. How many of you have got that correct? I can only move ahead if you will tell me that what were the issues in 5. Out of 5, how many of them, of these questions were correct? So my average score is 60, 68. GK बैकलॉग है बहुत सारे वर्किंग ऑन इट इंग्लिश को पॉइंट्स पर कमांड है एनी सजेशन हाउ डू यू नो इंग्लिश और पॉइंट पर तुम्हारा कमांड है एंड प्लीज अभी I am discussing about flat panchayat questions, so there's no point in discussing mock strategies in everything. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. I believe this topic is clear. So basic facts. October 1st 2025 से ये फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट वैलिड हो जाएगा. 10th March 2024 को साइन किया था लास्ट ईयर. इंडिया यूरोपियन फ्री ट्रेड एसोसिएशन है जिसमें स्विट्जरलैंड, नॉर्वे, आइसलैंड, ल्यूसिस्टीन 4 कंपनीज हैं, कंट्रीज हैं. $100 बिलियन का 15 इयर्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट इंडिया करवाएगा. 50 बिलियन इन द फर्स्ट 10 years, 50 बिलियन in the next 5 years, and 1 billion direct jobs will be created. India will eliminate or reduce duties on Swiss watches, chocolates and diamonds, जो कि इंडिया में आती है. इंडिया 82.7% टैरिफ लाइंस इशू कर रहा है जिसमें 95.3% EFTA एक्सपोर्ट्स कवर हो जाएंगे. 80% of EFTA exports are gold, and that is why the question was there from this. India is offering access to 105 subsectors, that is service sectors. India has received commitment from Switzerland, Norway, Liechtenstein and Iceland for different subsectors. Indian services like legal, research and development, computer and audiovisuals are going to help this EFTA members. Switzerland is the main trading partner. Indian exports may gain indirect access to EU markets via Switzerland. India EFTA trade was comparatively 24.4 billion. First Indian FTA with a firm investment linked pledge. India will never compromise national interest. Emphasis on building resilient supply chains. Trade strategy based on complementary economies, not competitors. And COVID and recent export bans showed need for self-reliance. Now coming back to the second topic, that were astronauts stuck in space. ठीक है? Astronauts stuck in space. Sir, मेरे तो मॉक पे 49.75 आए हैं. That's a very poor score. You should be ashamed and go back and re-attempt the entire mock. आपको शर्म आनी चाहिए. 49.75 marks. ठीक है, इतने इजी मॉक पे. तो प्लीज आके उसको दोबारा एनालाइज करिए, आंसर की के साथ बैठिए और गलत क्वेश्चंस को दोबारा सॉल्व करके फिगर आउट करिए क्यों गलत हुआ. आगे चैट में एकदम धड़ल्ले से बता भी ले रहे हैं मेरे से 50 नंबर आए हैं, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. थोड़ा तो प्रिपेयर कर ले बालक. इजी मॉक था। मॉक 34 वाज वेरी वेरी डुएबल। ऐसा अगर क्लैट में पेपर आ गया तो कट ऑफ बहुत ऊपर जाएगा और इनका रैंक आएगी 100 605 मार्क्स। Okay. Sixth question is Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, who had an unexpectedly extended stay on the ISS, originally launched on a test flight for which spacecraft? On a test flight for which spacecraft? The answer is Boeing Starliner. What was the primary reason? Why were they stuck? And why were they? Why was there a delay? Delay क्यों था? The primary reason was that they were in requirement. There was requirement of extensive repairs on a brand new replacement capsule batteries. Now this question was not an easy question. Also this question was not necessary. This question was not necessary. So if you have marked incorrect in this, then that's a problem. It's rather advisable to leave out such questions. There can be no weather conditions, an unexpected extension of scientific experiments, so this would have been a positive change. However, we were reading this news on a negative side. A change in the International Space Station's crew rotation schedule. Again, this is if this was a change in the schedule, then there would not have been hype around this particular news, and that is why the answer would be B. Moving to the next part. Moving to the next question. Question number 8. The recent missions to the International Space Station involved a collaboration of astronauts from which three countries? तो recent जो आपने देखा mission to International Space Station, that is US, Japan and Russia. You need to remember this. Question number 9 पे आएंगे. Again, though this question was relatively a little bit difficult because ISS में जो मिशन हुआ है वो एक्सियम का मिशन बात कर रहा है कि बज विल्मोर सुनीता विलियम्स की बात कर रहा है, तो थोड़ा सा मतलब क्लियर नहीं था. Which private aerospace company's capsule recently delivered new crew members to the International Space Station? Boeing, Blue Origin, SpaceX या Northrop Grumman? Answer is SpaceX. Again, that was a very direct question. Which private spacecraft was the first to successfully carry a human into space and what notable prize did it win? Now this was a difficult question because it is talking about private spacecraft. Again out of the box topic था, इसीलिए इसको prepare कर लीजिए. Ansari X prize मिला था. Spaceship 1 was the first private spacecraft. And again relatively question difficult हुआ, static पूछा और आपसे पूछा who was the first person to travel into space, and the first person to travel into space was Yuri Gagarin. First person to travel into space was Yuri Gagarin. Okay, let's move to discuss. Let's discuss the news that was there. Meanwhile, let me correct this mic issue. So I will see if everything is fine here. Pankaj Dahiya, now my voice is clear. I think the echo has now gone. Okay, all right. I believe everything is perfect now. Great. So we are coming to this astronauts return part. Remember the four names of the astronauts: Sunita Williams, Butch Wilmore, Nick Hague, and Alexander Gurbanov. So that these are three astronauts from NASA. Alexander Gurbanov from Roscosmos, Russia. They had returned on March 18, 2025 via SpaceX Crew Dragon. This is what you need to remember. A splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico of Tallahassee, Florida. So Gulf of Mexico में splashdown. Total duration in space 286. Originally, which was only planned for 8 days. 4,576 Earth orbits, 121 million miles, that is 195 million kilometers traveled. The launch was on 5th of June 2024. The touchdown was on, sorry, the return was on March 18th. And they had gone on Boeing Starliner capsule, but they had come back on SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. So Starliner is there, जिससे टेक ऑफ किया और क्रू ड्रैगन से कम बैक किया, ये याद रखिएगा. स्टार लाइनर बोइंग का है, क्रू ड्रैगन स्पेस एक्स का है. ठीक है, स्पेस एक्स का है. दैट इज व्हाट यू विल रिमेंबर. मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. If you go to the next part, you will find Williams and Wilmore transition into full-time ISS crew. Sunita Williams was the station commander. Sunita Williams was the station commander. She had set record for most career spacewalking hours by a woman, and that is what you will remember: 62 hours across 9 spacewalks. Sunita Williams has Indian Slovenian heritage, celebrated in Gujarat as her ancestral village is in Gujarat. Prayers were held for her on 21 Hindu temples in US. And then followed by this, former President Donald Trump has urged faster return. He had blamed Biden administration for the delay, used capsule instead of a new one to accelerate return. Despite politics, astronauts stayed neutral and professional. And followed by this, NASA contracted SpaceX and Boeing to transport astronauts post shuttle era, because Russia said we will not provide NASA the necessary help. ISS is about to retire by 2030, which will be replaced by a private space stations of all these countries. The focus is primarily shifting to Moon and Mars missions. And these are some of the facts that you need to remember from, you can say, uh, this particular topic. Okay, coming to the third topic, that is World Happiness Report 2025. The World Happiness Report continues to remain important because World Happiness Index, people can ask you India's rank, which was 118th. I remember way back in 2023, before CLAT 2024, I mean CLAT 2024 was about to be conducted. CLAT consortium released some sample papers. In that sample, one of the sample papers, consortium had given a passage where it was asking about which country prepares its GDP based on happiness factor. To an extent, it was relating to World Happiness Report, and the country was Bhutan. So CLAT in their sample paper has indicated that World Happiness Report can be important. So thereby we will read that particular topic if that is there in the news. Okay. So according to the World Happiness Report, which country has been named the happiest in the world for 8th consecutive year? Again, the answer is Finland. Finland continues to remain the happiest. Okay. Next. Which country is once again ranked as the unhappiest country in the world in the 2025 report? If you would have looked into the countries, you would not mark UK, but yes, you can be confused between Sierra Leone, Lebanon, and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the least happiest country in the world, followed by Sierra Leone and Lebanon. What is India's rank in the World Happiness Report? It's 118th. Okay, so last week in revision through MCQs, before that, in CLAT Panchayat episode 5, we have discussed about Global Gender Gap Index, where India's position was 115. In Happiness Index, India's position is 118. And that is what you will remember for your CLAT examination. Which of the following neighboring countries of India is ranked higher than India in the World Happiness Report 2025? Now, I can say this with utmost conviction that such type of questions will not appear in CLAT, because then these questions are designed in a manner where most of the aspirants will not know the correct answer. But to an extent, if you will look into guess which country would have done better in terms of happiness, you would not mark for that matter
you would not mark Bangladesh, you cannot mark Myanmar. In B and D, if you will do an intelligent guessing, you will find to an extent happiness is related to availability of money. Okay, availability of money. So you will not mark B because Sri Lanka has recently faced economic crisis. But you can go with Nepal because you will eliminate A, B, and C. Now this is not a test going on. That is why answers will be there because test has already been conducted. Okay, we are only discussing the answers. We are only discussing the facts. Uh, for that matter, if you talk about protest, Anamika, protests are going on in all of these countries. Uh, Stable government, none of these countries have stable government as of now. So that would not be the right way to figure out. I mean, protest does not indicate unhappy countries. Protest indicates presence of democratic institutions and ideals. So protest हुई है, उसका हैप्पीनेस से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. हैप्पीनेस का लेना देना कंट्री की इकोनॉमी से हो सकता है, जीडीपी से हो सकता है, उस कंट्री के अंदर चलने वाले पॉलिटिकल रिलेशंस से हो सकता है. ठीक है. सनातन वॉरियर, प्लीज डू नॉट प्लीज कम विथ योर रियल नेम. Again, I am saying answers will be there because this the test has already been conducted on last Sunday and that is why उस टेस्ट का आंसर की डिस्कस करने के लिए बच्चे यहाँ पे ज्वाइन हुए. तो आंसर तो रहेगा ही रहेगा. नेपाल इज 92nd, Pakistan is 109th, both higher than India's 118. The other options are ranked lower, not explicitly mentioned as higher. So Pakistan has done much better than India, to your shock. So you will remember Nepal and Pakistan are better in happiness index. However, Pakistan was not there as an option. Which of the following factors is explicitly mentioned as influencing a country's happiness score in the World Happiness Report, and India is cited as having a weakness in this area despite overall improvements? The answer is social support. The answer is social support. So these are the factors that happiness index will you can say keep in mind. Okay, for figuring out whether the country is happy or not. What is the theme for World Happiness Day 2025? 20th मार्च को वर्ल्ड हैप्पीनेस डे सेलिब्रेट करते हैं और इस बार की थीम है केयरिंग एंड शेयरिंग. केयरिंग एंड शेयरिंग. एंड द आंसर फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 18 वर्ल्ड हैप्पीनेस डे is March 20th, that is C. Now there are certain key facts that appeared in the Hindu newspaper with respect to World Happiness Report and okay, Manish Chahal. Now we are going to discuss those facts. As you can see, Finland is the happiest country for 8 consecutive years, followed by Denmark, Iceland, Sweden. Most of the indices, in many of these indices, you will find, for example, in gender gap index, Iceland was at the top. Okay, so Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, these are the 3-4 countries, the Nordic countries, which continue to acquire topmost positions when it comes to important international indices or reports. Followed by this, Costa Rica and Mexico. These are some of the new upgradations that have happened. Israel is placed in the 8th position despite ongoing conflict. That indicates that you really cannot rely on the kind of reports because Israel again is a country where people are dying, people are feeling unsafe. Israel is in continuous war with axis of resistance groups as well as Syria, Lebanon, as well as with Iran. Yet it occupies 8th position is shocking. India is in no position of war with any other country, is the fastest growing economy in the world, has uplifted more than 20 million people out of poverty in just past 10 years or so, yet remains at 118th position. So I believe India also needs to create some sort of comparison and needs to have its own index where it can rate or rank countries across the globe on different parameters. I think the result would be profoundly different from what we see as appearing in World Happiness Report 2025. Falling rankings that you will find United States has gone to 24th rank. It was earlier 11th. 53% rise in solo dining over 20 years. Now, people, those who eat lonely, is one of the factors based on which they calculate whether the person is happy or not. quite uh, astounding and disbelieving for this. So in United Kingdom, again at 23, least happiness is Afghanistan, Sierra Leone, and Lebanon. Like I told you, there are key factors that influence happiness: self-rated life evaluations, trust and kindness, social support, household size. I mean, household size 4 to 5 members is ideal in many countries. Please remember, India is a country that does not, the culture of this particular country is not, you can say, uh, indicative or does not give us clues where nuclear family as a concept is accepted. Joint families, undivided families, uh, single patriarchal head in the family indicates that some feeling of community, kul family, that is kul community, pur, that is village. These are the you can say uh, social outlook or social perspective of India. How can we say that 4 to 5 members would be an ideal family size with respect to India? If you will look into rural India, joint family as a concept still exists there. Okay, and that is why if this is one of the parameters to evaluate whether happiness is there in the family or not, India would be appearing unhappy. To an extent, if we talk about the celebration of festivals, festivals become festivals when our cousins are all there. So I would say World Happiness Index के जो parameters हैं does not go in line with the socio-cultural milieu of this particular country. Believes in others' goodness closely tied to happiness. 19% of young adults globally have no one for social support. Don't worry, I and Law Prep tutorial are still there for you. So don't worry for that part. 39% increase since 2006. You don't have to remember this data. Well-being Research Center, Oxford University conducts this. Now, I have my own doubts on the parameters used by this industry in collaboration with GOLAP and United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Your mocks might ask you this question. CLAT will not ask you this question. The data includes three things: GDP, per capita, health, life expectancy, freedom, generosity, corruption, perception. All of these parameters are included to calculate whether the country is happy or not. India has been positioned at 118th out of 147, ranks below Pakistan, Palestine, and Ukraine. I mean, is this even possible? Tell me, is this even possible? Do you agree to this point? सर आप क्लैड एक्सप्रेस भी पढ़ा दिया करो, फिर मैं कुछ बोलूंगा तो विवाद हो जाएगा, इसीलिए शांति रहने दीजिए आप मुझे। आप मुझे ये बताइए कि इंडिया की पोजीशन हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स में पैलेस्टीन और यूक्रेन से भी नीचे है। इज इट पॉसिबल? आप जीडीपी पर कैपिटा देख लो, आप सोशल सपोर्ट देख लो, ठीक है, और भी कोई पैरामीटर हो, हेल्थ और लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी देख लो। एटलीस्ट हमारे यहाँ पे लोग बीमारी से मर रहे हैं, बम से नहीं। Okay, so that is why if Indian government says that we do not rely on these indices, the people from the opposition rather uses these uh, ranks to question the ability of the present government of India. But it's not the failure of the government of India, because government is only there for 5 years, 10 years. Okay, uh, it is the failure of this country collectively that we are not able to embark on, you can say, incremental steps or incremental positions when it comes to World Happiness Index. Exactly, Soumya. How is this even possible? But then the report is what it is. So, sparked widespread criticism from public figures and netizens. Sri Ravi Shankar's response disagreed with India's low ranking. Having traveled the world, India deserves a much higher rank. Okay, what have we? So, the points that I have indicated, critics have also indicated that point, that India is a country with high human compassion and values, hospitality. आइए ना हमरा बिहार में, तो गाना भी देखा होगा आपने, community support in villages, strong social binding. Okay, poverty does not mean that people are not happy. People might be below poverty line. बच्चे आप there is one instance that actually I can recall and remember is of I was moving from one law prep tutorial center to another way back in 2022, 21, 22. So I used to catch up Vande Bharat, which used to move from Varanasi to Kanpur. The Vande Bharat was at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I used to reach Kanpur by 9:30. And in Kanpur, LPT Kanpur, I used to have my classes from 11 in the morning till 6 in the evening. And then I used to board the train again at 7 p.m. Vande Bharat, and I used to reach Varanasi by 11:10 p.m. on the same day. So what I saw, it is one of my instances that I saw in Kanpur railway station was that there was one mother with three little kids. Where was the father? I had no idea. But these three kids who were there had only some sort of shorts or they were only covered. The body was naked. The kids were very very small. I think 2 years or 3 years must have been the age, and the mother was feeding them. You say banana, and how she has had how she had got that banana. So there were a group of there was a joint family who was sitting there. तो माँ गई और उसने पैसे मांगे कि बच्चों को खाना खिलाना है. तो जो औरतें बैठी थी उन्होंने पूरा केले का एक 12 केले का पूरा एक उठा के उनको दे दिया कि आप ये खिला दो बच्चों को. और वो केले को तोड़ के छोटे छोटे पीसेस करके जो ना केला तो बच्चा खा ही सकता है जिसके दांत नहीं है बहुत ज्यादा, तो केला खिला रही थी एंड चिल्ड्रन वर हैप्पी. एंड लुकिंग इनटू दैट थिंग, तो माँ ने तो केले बच्चे को खिला दिए. तो देन आई वेंट एंड मैंने उनको बोला कि मतलब आई हैड 50 रुपीज़, तो मैंने उनको 50 रुपए दिए. मैंने कहा आप आपके लिए IRCTC की थाली ऑर्डर कर लीजिएगा. IRCTC की थाली 50 रुपए में, उसमें दाल और चावल आ जाता है. एंड शी वॉज वेरी वेरी हैप्पी. देन आई वॉज परप्लेक्स्ड बिकॉज वो बच्चे अभी भी खेल रहे हैं, हंस रहे हैं, खुश हैं. लेकिन अगर आप वर्ल्ड हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स की तरह से देखेंगे तो आपको दिखाई देगा कि ये गरीब हैं, ये लाचार हैं, ये असहाय हैं. जबकि मैंने क्या देखा कि मैंने देखा कि नहीं, खाना मांगने गए थे तो केला दिया ना, एक परिवार ने केला दिया. फिर मेरे जैसा एक आदमी कोई ना कोई तो डेली उनसे टकराते ही होगा जो उनको 50-100 रुपए दे देता होगा. और इंडिया में पॉवर्टी का मतलब ये है कि अगर आप अ, शहर में, औसतम शहर में रहते हैं और आप 80 रुपए, 70-80 रुपए से कम खर्चा करते हैं अपने खाने पे, तो आप पॉवर्टी लाइन पे हैं. तो भारत देश में पॉवर्टी लाइन की जो रेखा है वही इतना कम लेवल पे है कि 70-80 तो आप अगर दान भी मांगेंगे किसी से तो 70-80 रुपए आपको पर डे का तो मिल ही जाएगा एक्सपेंड करने के लिए. तो ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में इट इज 60, फॉर अर्बन आई गेस इट इज 130 रुपीज पर डे expenditure on consumption, expenditure on consumption. And consumption can be uh, daily consumption for these people can be food, and monthly consumption expenditure can be related to some clothing or any other amenities that they take. तो इसीलिए जो आर्ग्यूमेंट बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग है इंडिया का कि पॉवर्टी इज नॉट अनहैप्पीनेस. ठीक है सर, आप पहले वाराणसी में भी पढ़ाते थे. आई करेंटली ज्वाइंड LPT वाराणसी, और LPT वाराणसी की नींव स्टार्टिंग के 2-3 महीने में ही था वहाँ पे. GK टीचर, लीगल टीचर, बाकी सारे टीचर्स तो अब आए हैं. सो यू कैन आस्क विवेक सर, मनोज सर, रितेश सर वर देयर. Okay, people in Indian slums still show joy and resilience. Social media backlash questioned methodology and credibility. Now Finland, popular posts that were there. So we will not read that, and we had discussed most of the points here. So World Happiness Report, though is a debatable one, can appear in your GK section, can appear in your logical reasoning section. It will appear in logical reasoning section because this happiness report this particular year, uh, where it has been stated that India is socially less inclusive, and that it has created some you can say editorials have been published going against the findings of this particular report. ठीक है सर, तो आपने छोड़ क्यों दिया सर? आप रहते तो बेटर रहता, मैं रहता तो बेटर ही होता बेटा, मैं रहता तो बहुत कुछ बेटर होता, बट द कैच इज मैंने छोड़ा नहीं एलपीटी, आई माइग्रेटेड। सो आई वॉज कॉल्ड बाय हेड ऑफिस, हेड ऑफिस ने बोला आप जोधपुर आ जाइए। तो हेड ऑफिस इज आफ्टर ऑल हेड ऑफिस, जोधपुर इज जोधपुर, जयपुर इज जयपुर। तो और सागर सर की बात को कैसे टाल सकते थे, तो मैं जोधपुर चला गया। मुझे अगर मैं बनारस में रहता तो यहाँ खड़े होकर लाइव थोड़ी ले पा रहा होता। तो जोधपुर गया तो वहाँ पे मुझे और बड़े पैमाने पे काम करने को मिला, लॉ प्रेप ट्यूटोरियल में पॉजिटिव कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस करने को मिले, और लॉ प्रेप ट्यूटोरियल ने भी मेरे एफर्ट्स को रिकॉग्नाइज किया। एंड फाइनली इस समय एट प्रेजेंट इंदौर में आई एम रनिंग द इंटायर सेंटर ऑफ लॉ प्रेप ट्यूटोरियल। So it's about personal growth, I believe. With it, because of my personal growth, because of getting the platform that I deserved, I Banaras was never the. It's my hometown. I have studied from Sunbeam Bhagwanpur. That's my hometown. But then the kind of exposure that you need, the kind of money that you need, the kind of autonomy that you need is not there in with franchisee centers. So it's my earnest request to all the students across India that always figure out whether it's a franchisee or whether it's a directly company administered center, because a lot of dynamics are different when it comes to when we start to compare. But I'll not go into that. Study material is same, it's only the teachers which are different. So good luck with that. Next topic is right digital access, the right to digital access. Now there was the Supreme Court judgment as well as explained section of the Hindu जिसने ये बोला कि people with disability जो PWD होते हैं उनको भी हमें इंक्लूड करना है मेन स्ट्रीम में। और इनको इंक्लूड कैसे कर सकते हैं, तो अगर एक पर्सन है जिसकी आई डज नॉट हैव द आई, तो आप उसका बायोमेट्रिक स्कैन कैसे कराओगे, ठीक है, आप उसका बायोमेट्रिक स्कैन कैसे कराओगे, नहीं करा पाओगे। अब उसका बायोमेट्रिक स्कैन नहीं होगा तो क्या उस पर्सन का आधार कार्ड नहीं बनेगा, क्वेश्चन आता होगा मन में। एक पर्सन है जो फिजिकली हैंडीकैप्ड है या जिसके पास फेलांजीज यानी फिंगर्स नहीं है, हाथ नहीं है, तो उसका थंबप्रिंट कैसे लिया जाएगा, तो उसका केवाईसी कैसे होगा, नो योर कस्टमर कैसे होगा, बैंक में वो अकाउंट कैसे खुलवाएगा, ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस वो कैसे बनवाएगा, पासपोर्ट वो कैसे बनवाएगा। तो राइट टू डिजिटल एक्सेस और राइट टू यू कैन से अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ पब्लिक एमिनिटीज, सरकारी सुविधाएं उस तक भी पहुंचनी चाहिए। फॉर दैट सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट आया था, और ये टॉपिक एक ऐसा है जो कि लॉजिकल, लीगल, जी के तीनों में पूछा जा सकता है। इसीलिए क्वेश्चन देखिएगा, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग प्रोविजंस वर रिलाइड अपॉन बाय द सुप्रीम कोर्ट टू डिक्लेयर डिजिटल एक्सेस एज पार्ट ऑफ द राइट टू लाइफ, आर्टिकल 14, 15, 21, 38। नाउ यू विल फिगर आउट कि राइट टू लाइफ पूछ रहा है तो 21 तो होगा ही होगा, 1, 2, 3 और 4 में अगर हम बात करें, 1, 2, 3, 4 में बात करें तो 3, 3, 3 सब में है, इसमें नहीं है तो हम इसको एलिमिनेट कर देंगे। अब हमें बात करनी है कि डिजिटल एक्सेस की बात कर रहा है, अगर वो एक्सेस की बात कर रहा है तो वाई, if access is being talking about, so access must be equal and same for all. If anything where we are comparing distinct groups are being compared, then it is talking about article 14. तो article 14 किस किस में है, that is 1 and 1, article 14 and article 3, 1 and 3 common किस में है, तो यहाँ पे 1 और 3 है, यहाँ पे भी 1 और 3 है, ये एलिमिनेटेड बिकॉज यहाँ पे 1 नहीं है। अब बात आ रही है डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की और डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी। तो आर्टिकल 38 क्योंकि सोशल जस्टिस की बात करता है, तो पीडब्ल्यूडी कैंडिडेट्स को इंक्लूड करना या ना करना सोशल जस्टिस की बात जरूर होगी, एंड दैट इज वाई 4 वाला ऑप्शन जो लेके चल रहा है हम उसको मार्क कर देंगे, सी विल बी द राइट चॉइस। सो वी हैड टू यूज लॉट ऑफ लॉजिक्स, we had to use a lot of logics instead of knowledge to figure out the correct answer for this question. Okay, sir, किसी दिन आइए एलपीटी वाराणसी, I really want to meet you in person. For sure, why not? LPT Varanasi though is not my area of you can say interest or my jurisdiction area. It's not there. But any day if I'm in Varanasi, if I'm there, you can connect to me. Okay. For example, for instance, if you want to discuss your strategy or your problems with me, or you want the PDF of this particular CLAT Panchayat, you can contact me over this Telegram ID and I shall be able to provide you all of that. Okay, I have got a lot of students request and I don't know कहाँ कहाँ से बच्चों ने message किया. Somebody is from Chennai, somebody is from Bangalore, somebody is from Patna, somebody is from Jodhpur, somebody is from Lucknow, somebody is from Prayagraj, somebody is from Kanpur, जिन्होंने अपने नोट्स भेजे, जिन्होंने अपने पिछले 4 मॉक के स्कोर भेजे. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स, आई हैव गॉट मोर देन आई कैन रिकॉल 110 मैसेजेस, आउट ऑफ विच व्हाट आई कैन रिकॉल इज मैंने 40 मैसेजेस को पढ़ा है, रिस्पॉन्ड किया है. बाकी मैसेजेस अभी भी कुछ पेंडिंग है. आई रिप्लाई टू ऑल ऑफ देम, डोंट वरी. ठीक है, इट्स माई प्रायोरिटी. लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. Which act in India protects the right of persons with disabilities? Now this was a difficult question because आपको स्टैट्यूट का नाम पता होना चाहिए था. तो राइट ऑफ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज की बात कर रहा है, इनके अधिकारों की बात कर रहा है, तो राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट जो है वो आप एलिमिनेट कर देंगे. डिजिटल इंडिया एक्ट भी आप एलिमिनेट कर देंगे. प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्ट इज नॉट रिलेटेड टू दिस, सो रूल ऑफ एलिमिनेशन लगाएंगे अगर, तो भी मे बी आप कर पाए. और ये डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन था, तो लेकिन डिफिकल्ट था. डिफिकल्ट इसलिए था कि आप ये एलिमिनेट कर सकते थे. ठीक है, आप ये एलिमिनेट कर सकते थे. हो सकता है कि आपने इसमें मिस्टेक करी हो, लेकिन ये एक्ट डायरेक्ट दिख रही है आपको, तो आप उसको मार्क करेंगे. ईयर याद रखिएगा 2016. अब आपसे एक थॉट छोड़ रहा हूं मैं आपके सामने. भारत देश में तो देखिए कानून भी है जो कि डिसेबल्ड दिव्यांग लोगों की के अधिकारों को उल्लेखित करता है, बताता है. क्या ये कानून आ जाने से, क्या ये कानून बना देने से पॉजिटिव लेजिस्लेशन हैज एनी पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट, positive legislation has any positive impact with respect to access to services, access to resources when it comes to persons with disability? ध्यान से सुनिएगा. पॉजिटिव लेजिस्लेशन, वेदर इट हैज एनी पॉजिटिव you can say impact, positive effect on access to services, access to amenities, access to facilities with respect to Divyang category people. You need to read these type of editorials. Social issues are very very common. Profoundly they appear in your logical reasoning section. So you need to have an opinion on that part as well. Also, if you will connect this particular topic to recently Samay Raina controversy that is going on with respect to India's Got Latent, he had made some remarks on physically challenged individuals. So, Supreme Court has summoned Samay Raina, has called in Samay Raina, is asking for his statement, and there are a lot of social media posts which are indicating that uh, to allow comedians to crack jokes on persons with disability is a form of inclusivity. A lot of PWD candidates had created videos in favor of Samay Raina, stating that these comedians, these stand-up comedians, are making jokes on persons with disability, is making them the part of the crowd, the part of the joke, the part of the moments of happiness, and is a form of social inclusion, because laughter is what connects everybody, and they should not be excluded by restricting these comedians to crack jokes on PWD candidates. Do you agree to this or you disagree to this? What are your takes on this? What are experts stating on this particular viewpoint? Try to have your own thoughts and say on this. So, what do you think? What is your say? What do you think? Thank you, Vidit. Vidit is saying, sir, you are a wonderful teacher. This is so because, thank you so much, Vidit. Vidit, I will surely love to help you in your CLAT preparation. हर्षिता कांतिवाल, हेलो. सो मेरा क्वेश्चन अगर आपको समझ में आया हो तो बताइए, नहीं समझ में आया हो तो मैं हिंदी में पूछूं. माई क्वेश्चन इज वेरी क्लियर और नॉट? मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट समय रैना जैसे लोगों को बुला के डांट लगाती है, ये बोलती है समय रैना से कि आप दिव्यांग कैटेगरी पे, डिसेबल्ड लोगों पे मजाक मत बनाइए, तो इसमें दिव्यांग कैटेगरी के कुछ लोगों का ये कहना है, कुछ गुर्गों का ये कहना है कि ऐसे कॉमेडियंस, स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियंस, हम जैसे लोगों की डिसेबिलिटीज पे जब मजाक बनाते हैं तो हम हास्य का पात्र बनते हैं, और हम उस समाज का भी हिस्सा बनते हैं, हम उस मोमेंट का भी हिस्सा बनते हैं, हम उस खुशी का भी हिस्सा बनते हैं। तो ये हमारे इंक्लूजन के लिए ज़रूरी है कि हम पे मजाक बने और लोग हमारी जो डिसेबिलिटीज़ है उस पे हंसें और हमें इंक्लूसिव फील कराएं। कृपया हमें एक्सक्लूड मत करिए फ्रॉम द मोमेंट्स ऑफ लाफ्टर, बिकॉज लाफ्टर इज व्हाट कनेक्ट्स पीपल। तो क्या आप ऐसे ओपिनियन को सपोर्ट करते हैं या आप ऐसे ओपिनियन के अगेंस्ट होते हैं? स्पीक अ लिटिल लाउडर। यार चिल्लाने से जो भाव है वो खत्म हो जाता है, चिल्ला चिल्ला के। ठीक है, पढ़ाऊं मतलब दबा के ठोके महाकाल, जय श्री महाकाल बोलिए और दबा के ठोके लाइक, ऐसी बातें करूं मैं? चिल्ला नहीं सकता, मेरी यही पिच रह सकती है। सर आई नो अ बिट, इट इज नॉट लीगली रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, इट इज लाइक दिस, स्पेशल मस्ट प्रिवेल ओवर नॉर्मल। पता नहीं खुशी, ये कौन सा टॉपिक कहाँ से, कहाँ का लॉजिक कहाँ लगा दिया तुमने। मेरा ओपिनियन लीगल नहीं है, मेरा क्वेश्चन लीगल नहीं है, मेरा क्वेश्चन सोशल थॉट प्रोसेस से रिलेटेड है। और क्लैट एस्पिरेंट्स, लॉ एस्पिरेंट्स should be able to figure out the difference between a social viewpoint and a legal viewpoint. I'm asking it from a social viewpoint, not from a legal viewpoint, because legal viewpoint क्या है, Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 will tell you. मैं social viewpoint के point of view से पूछ रहा हूँ। कोई आंसर ही नहीं देता। इनको पता ही नहीं है, इनसे होता ही नहीं है, इनको आता ही नहीं है। नहीं करोगे आंसर तुम लोग? मेरा सवाल ही नहीं समझ में आ रहा है। चलो ठीक है फिर, आप बात ही नहीं करना चाहते ऐसे मुद्दों पे, तो हम आगे बढ़ जाते हैं। क्वेश्चन नंबर 21 पे आते हैं, और इसमें देखेंगे, विल डिस्कस इन दिस द नेक्स्ट फ्यू पॉइंट्स। अकॉर्डिंग टू द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, हु एल्स बिसाइड्स पीडब्ल्यूडीज faces challenges in accessing digital services? Bank employees, urban rich, rural users and senior citizens, government officials, आई मीन रूरल यूजर्स एंड सीनियर सिटीजन्स, इसमें डाउट नहीं होना चाहिए था। द प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्ट मैंडेट्स बैंक्स एंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस टू वेरीफाई client identities and report information to which unit? This was a difficult question. Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU would be the right answer. क्वेश्चन नंबर 23, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी वाला जजमेंट है उसको आर्टिकल 21 के साथ रिलेट करने वाला कौन सा केस है? दिस वाज द केस पॉइंट इन व्यू, दैट इज राजीव रतुरी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया। के एस पुट्टस्वामी राइट टू प्रिवेसी का है। ठीक है, राजीव रतुरी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया। विच कंट्री इज द लार्जेस्ट? नाउ कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑयल ट्रेड, द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ टेंशंस ऑन ऑयल ट्रेड। अब ये क्वेश्चंस ऐसे थे कि विच कंट्री इज द लार्जेस्ट ऑयल प्रोड्यूसर इन द ओपेक प्लस ग्रुप that acts as swing producer? Answer is Saudi Arabia is the largest oil producer. Which country is expected to contribute nearly a quarter of global crude oil demand growth in 2025? The answer is India. India is going to contribute nearly a quarter of global crude demand. Next है, ये जो Strait of Hormuz आप देख रहे हैं, if you will look into this, So if you will look into this, you will find that this Strait of Hormuz is the point जहाँ से सऊदी अरेबिया, कुवैत, इराक, ईरान, कतर, यूएई अपना ऑयल रिलीज करते होंगे। तो ये जो ऑयल मूव कराते होंगे, स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज क्योंकि ईरान के कंट्रोल में है, तो ईरान ने ही अभी बोला था कि हम स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज को क्या कर देंगे, ब्लॉक कर देंगे। तो ये क्रिटिकल चोक पॉइंट है क्योंकि 80% ऑफ natural gas and oil passes through this strait if it is going to Asia. एशिया में अगर जा रहा है तो 80% एशिया का तेल स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज से आता है, और यूरोप में जा रहा है तो 20% ऑयल यहाँ से पास होता है। इसीलिए ये क्रिटिकल चोक पॉइंट है। अगर इस रीजन में, यहाँ पे रीजन में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा है, ये दोनों आपस में लड़ाई कर रहे हैं, फिर आप देखेंगे इधर यमन में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा है, ठीक है, तो ये लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, इन चोक पॉइंट्स को, ये बाबल मांदेब स्ट्रेट है, ये स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज है, इसको ब्लॉक कर देंगे। अगर इसको ब्लॉक कर दिया तो ट्रेड नहीं हो पाएगा, मेडिटेरेनियन का कनेक्ट इंडियन ओशन से या अरेबियन सी से खत्म हो जाएगा, जिसके बाद हमें एक ऑल्टरनेटिव कॉरिडोर की जरूरत पड़ेगी, और जो ऑल्टरनेटिव रूट है फिर वो अफ्रीका के नीचे से है। सो दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम challenge that the world is facing right now, and that is why oil tension was used as a topic in this particular episode of CLAT Panchayat. I hope you are getting it. Let's move to the question. Which of the following sea lanes is considered the world's most significant oil shipping lane, which around 20-21 million barrels of oil passing daily? The answer is Strait of Hormuz, like I had indicated. If you will move to the next part, which strait connects Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden? रेड सी को गल्फ ऑफ एडन से कनेक्ट करने वाला कौन सा है? तो रेड सी को गल्फ ऑफ एडन से कनेक्ट करने वाला जो 6 मिलियन बैरल्स ऑफ ऑयल पर डे को ट्रांसफर करता है, वो स्ट्रेट का नाम क्या है? तो मैंने आपको अभी जस्ट दिखाया, बाबल मांदेर स्ट्रेट। तो ये जो लोकेशंस हैं, ठीक है, लोकेशंस ऑफ स्ट्रेट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, क्योंकि इनको हम लोग क्रिटिकल चोक पॉइंट्स बोलते हैं। क्रिटिकल चोक पॉइंट्स, अगर इनको आपने ब्लॉक कर दिया तो ऑयल ट्रेड, ग्लोबल ट्रेड जो है वो रुक जाएगा। तो आप अगर बात करेंगे सुएज कैनाल की, आप अगर बात करेंगे पनामा कैनाल की, आप अगर बात करेंगे बाबल मांदेर स्ट्रेट की, आप अगर बात करेंगे स्ट्रेट ऑफ मलक्का की, आप अगर बात करेंगे स्ट्रेट ऑफ बॉस्फोरस, एंड डार्डनेलिस जो कि ब्लैक सी और टर्की के बीच में है, तो ये सारे जो स्ट्रेट्स लगातार पिछले पास्ट 2 इयर्स से न्यूज़ में है। पास्ट 2 इयर्स से ये एरिया जो है, ये सारे जो पॉइंट्स हैं न्यूज़ में है, इंक्लूडिंग ताइवान स्ट्रेट। इंक्लूडिंग ताइवान स्ट्रेट। स्ट्रेट is a small stretch of water connecting two large water bodies, and all of these straits are continuously there in the news, is conflicted. That is why the locations of these straits or canals is very, very important. How many more CLAT Panchayat episodes are left? CLAT Panchayat, 2 more episodes are left, but more than CLAT Panchayat episodes, I mean other than CLAT Panchayat episodes, I take around 2 to 3 lives on GK every week, that is revision through MCQs. So once this is done, I'll be again coming back with RTM series, continuous videos on RTM. So thereby you can prepare your current affairs using that also. So you will remember this. Next, question number 28. So you will find, okay, like I told you that because the straits are being blocked due to conflicts, the world is basically moving below Africa, and then Europe is able to trade uh, with Asian countries for that matter, and the area is Cape of Good Hope. So if you will look into this, this Cape of Good Hope is a small port located here near Cape Town. Okay, the lowest point is Cape Agulhas, but this is a facility where infrastructure for carrier ships, commercial ships, cruise ships, infrastructure is properly here, and that is why ships would halt there and then continue to move further. Port Elizabeth also you will find, Cape Hanglip, Cape Point you will also find, and very notably I also noticed that there is an area called as East London. So West London and East London. East London is in South Africa. I mean, I was surprised to see this, that there is also East London. So that is why I decided. And Durban, you will find, is also a port city. Okay, so this is very very important for you to note. The longer, costlier alternate shipping route for oil tankers that circumvents the Suez Canal by going around the southern tip of Africa is called Cape of Good Hope route. Like I said, pipelines are very, very important. States are very, very important. So there was this question, which canal and pipeline handle approximately 4.5 to 5 million barrels per day of crude oil and refined products linking Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea is Suez Canal. Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea is Suez Canal. Now, Suez Canal, if you will look, was there in two options: Suez Canal, assumed pipeline, Suez Canal and Strait of Hormuz. Now, Suez Canal and Strait of Hormuz are located in two different regions, and that is why it can't be the correct answer. So, Suez Canal, though is correct, this is, you will find, this is for the movement of the ships. This is for the movement of the ships, Suez Canal. But there is a pipeline through Egypt. There is a pipeline through Egypt connecting Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea, and this pipeline is called as Sumed pipeline. Okay, I pronounce it assumed pipeline. It can be Sumed pipeline. So this is one of the uh, Sarvasyapi Bhavadetu. Sir, can Article 365 be evoked for imposing precedent rule? 356 is there, not 365. Article 356, imposition of precedence rule. Okay, so assumed pipeline is also there, Sumet pipeline, and you would have not figured this out. 29 पूछ रहा है, which canal and pipeline handle this? So I think I have indicated that. Cape of Good Hope हो गया, ये वाली pipeline हुई. 30th, the Strait of Malacca connects oil producers in the Middle East to which consumer region? So you had to know the location of Strait of Malacca, and if you will look into the location of Strait of Malacca, it's very near to Andaman and Nicobar Islands, between Malaysia, Singapore and Indonesia. This is the passage. So you can possibly move from Strait of Malacca, enter into South China Sea. If you want to move your items to China, Hong Kong, Japan, you have to cross the Strait of मलक्का, एंड स्टेट ऑफ मलक्का के जस्ट सामने अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड है. तो इंडियन नेवी कंट्रोल करती है स्टेट ऑफ मलक्का का एंट्री और एग्जिट. नॉट कंट्रोल, बट यस, कीप अ चेक ऑन, एंड दैट इज व्हाई द आंसर वुड बी सी, एशिया. ओके, नाउ विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू इंडिया, ऑयल सबसे ज्यादा किन देशों से इंपोर्ट करता है? तो इट इज ऑब्वियसली सऊदी अरेबिया, इट इज ऑब्वियसली रशिया, इट इज ऑब्वियसली इराक. So you will figure this out. 8,21,952 million barrels, 16,46,311 barrels per day, not million barrels, barrels per day, and then it is 9,86,000. So 1, 2, 3. These are the top three, you can say, oil exporters to India. So which of the following are the top three countries India imports? Iraq, Saudi Arabia and Russia. Always remember this, and the short way could be SIR. SIRR. It can be uh, SIRR. So that's सीरिया, इराक एंड रशिया। देखो हम ईरान के साथ भी ऑयल लेते थे, पता है तुमको, लेकिन ईरान के ऊपर जब से यूएसए के टेंशन्स आ गए हैं, तब से हमने ईरान से ऑयल लेना कम कर दिया है। अमेरिका तो रशिया से भी तेल खरीदने के लिए मना करता है, लेकिन हम लोग ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं देते उस जगह पे, क्योंकि रशिया अपने को सस्ता तेल दे रहा है। फिर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक था, वो था वेस्ट एशिया में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स और ये सारी बातें। तो उसमें आपने हमेशा ध्यान से सुना होगा आंसर की, देयर वाज ऑप्शन व्हिच स्टेटेड आर्टिकल 350 कैन बी इवोक्ड फॉर प्रेसिडेंट रूल एंड दे मार्क इट एज करेक्ट। Sir, which class you are studying all? I don't know, understand. Kamini, I cannot understand your question. Just a minute, guys. No? Okay. So students must have studied about axis of resistance. Now, what is axis of resistance? Axis of resistance uh, is a consortium or a group of people who are involved in resistance movements, and sometimes their resistance goes to such an extent where they are declared as terror outfits by global agencies, including United Nations Security Council or United States of America. And these axis of resistance groupings are backed by their mai baap, that is Iran, and there are different groups present in different countries with different areas of influence. So in Yemen you will find Houthis to be there. In Gaza there is Hamas and Islamic Jihad. In Lebanon there is Hezbollah, that is Party of God. In Iraq it is Asab al Ahl al Haq, Katab, Hezbollah and Badr organization. You need to remember the locations, areas of influence of these particular groups. Okay. I think sarvasyapi, you need to figure out exactly the right wordings in the question. If they are asking under which article president can do that, so president rule in a state is imposed under Article 356, right? Can Article 365 be evoked? So Article 365 is nothing but a power of the president to figure out that state government is not looking or hearing the advice tendered by the union government. If there is any union government advice that is being tendered to the state government, the concept of Indian federal structure involves that the state should be able to answer, should go in line with the union directions. If it is not doing so, then it is a failure of constitutional machinery, and then president can do all that is necessary within his powers to control that particular situation, which also includes taking the entire administration of that region into his own hands by invoking president rule. So, we need to look into the language of the question to figure out the correct answer. Okay. So, 356 is president rule, 365 is what is exactly failure of constitutional machinery, and both are interrelated to a vast extent. Let's move to the next topic. Which Iran-backed group has been involved in proxies in West Asia, escalating tensions with Saudi Arabia and UAE? So, as you know, Saudi Arabia, UAE is close to Yemen. The answer would be Houthi rebels. Then there is this port city called as Chabahar Port. So you can see that Chabahar Port is very, very important, strategically important for India, It is in Iran, and CLAT has given questions on Chabahar Day, extent of this port, and everything. Okay, this is the entry point for Indian trading companies, for India's trade into Central Asia, for that matter, and this can be a bridging, uh, you can say, road of rail, of sea to Middle East, as well as West Asia, as well as Eastern Europe, as well as Europe. And it is closer to Gwadar port. Gwadar port is linked to China via China-Pakistan economic corridor, and this is why Chabahar port is strategically very important for India. Access to Chabahar port. Okay, which port project is key to India's strategic interest in the West Asia region? The answer for this question will be Chabahar port. Again, a situational understanding or awareness of this port is very important. Now, this particular infographic is very interesting because this indicates that how many US Army deployments are there in how many different regions in West Asia. So you will find that much of this particular US Army personals are there in Kuwait and Qatar. In Kuwait and Qatar. And that is why Qatar, the base of America in Qatar, was recently attacked by Iran. Base of America in Qatar was recently attacked by Iran in response to Operation Midnight Hammer. In response to Operation Midnight Hammer, you will find Turkey 2500, Syria 2000, Jordan 3000, Saudi Arabia 3000, Oman very less 600, Iraq 6000, Kuwait and Qatar 13,000, Bahrain 7,000, UAE 5,000. Okay. Sarva Syapi is asking, do I have any plans for marathon in Bhopal? I am all in for marathons in all the LPT cities, but it is up to the administration or the management of that particular city to decide as to who will come and who will not come. Okay, because a lot of because teachers' schedule is also important. Now I am looking after an entire center, so I have a bunch of 40 students here. I have students from other institutions also who are coming to me for guidance and everything. It will be very difficult position for me to abandon them to take marathon somewhere else. However, I try to bridge the gap, and I myself believe that online marathons are much more productive than these offline marathons. And if there would be any GK marathon online, definitely I would be there, and I would be giving a lot of free GK sessions on YouTube, which you can utilize. I'm most likely that Indore students also will go to Bhopal for marathon. I'm not really sure about that, but yes, we are working that out. But if my students demand that उनको मैं यहीं चाहिए और मेरी ज़रूरत नहीं मुझे यहाँ समझ में आती है तो मेरे लिए मुश्किल होगा, मतलब थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होगा. लेकिन ऑनलाइन मैराथन हम लोग प्लान कर रहे हैं. स्टूडेंट्स ने बहुत ज़्यादा डिमांड ऑनलाइन मैराथन की बोली है, so I'm pretty much sure that YouTube media and academics team is positively looking into that. तो किसी भी सवाल का सीधा आंसर नहीं देना है. सागर सर कहते ही हैं मेरे को पॉलिटिशियन आदमी है ये, तो इसीलिए अब डिपेंड करता है बेटा. ठीक है. ऑपरेशन मिडनाइट हैमर, यूएस स्ट्राइक्स ऑन ईरान न्यूक्लियर फैसिलिटी. अभी जो सिटीज हैं फोर्डो, नटांस, इस्फहान, आपकी क्लैड एक्सप्रेस में बहुत अच्छे से सब कुछ कवर करके दिया हुआ है. ऑपरेशन मिडनाइट हैमर हो गया, ऑपरेशन राइजिंग लाइन हो गया, ऑपरेशन ट्रू प्रॉमिस 3 हो गया. तीनों ऑपरेशंस बहुत अच्छे से दिए हुए हैं. तो पूछ रहा है व्हाट इज द कोड नेम ऑफ द यूएस एयर स्ट्राइक ऑपरेशन दैट टारगेट्स ईरान की न्यूक्लियर फैसिलिटीज? ऑपरेशन मिडनाइट हैमर. नाउ वेयर इजराइल अटैक्ड ईरान, नाउ दिस इज which operation? Operation Rising Lion. Okay, Operation Rising Lion. So Israel has attacked Tabriz, Tehran, Natanz, Isfahan, and Kermanshah, as well as Arak. Okay, these are the places. Operation Rising Lion launched on 13th June 2025. Remember the date, 13 June, मनहूस दिन था, ठीक है? Targeted Iranian nuclear military sites. Which country conducted this operation? Rising Lion, Israel. Direct question था. Again, this is very important because Israel-Palestine issue has appeared in CLAT 2024. has appeared in CLAT 2024, and there they had this particular question that which was the most difficult or the longest fought, deadliest fought war between this Israel and proxies of Iran. It was Yom Kippur War that was there in the question, and that is why Israel's war with Iran, which basically a ceasefire was worked out after USA intervened, is called as the 12-day war. This will history will remember this particular episode as 12-day war. So you need to figure this out, है ना? तो after 12 days of intense airstrikes between Iran and Israel, US President Donald Trump announced Monday that the Middle Eastern rivals have reached a ceasefire. तो 12-day war याद रखना है, किसके बीच में हुआ है? ईरान और इसराइल के बीच में हुआ है. उसके बाद ये कुछ नेक्स्ट फ्यू टॉपिक्स हैं जो कि हमें यहाँ पे करने हैं. तो मैं आपको पहले ये दिखा देता हूँ कि ये जो टॉपिक था ये काफ़ी पुराना है. इंडिया ने 2 जीनोम एडिटेड राइस जो है वो बनाई, जो कि न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यूज में तो सेम है, लेकिन रेजिस्टेंस है ड्रॉट का, पेस्ट का, तो खराब नहीं होती फसल. ठीक है, इसका नाम है पूसा राइस DST और DRR धन 100, दैट इज कमला. सर एग्रीकल्चर से रिलेटेड कोई क्वेश्चंस जो क्लैट ने पूछे हो? तो एग्रीकल्चर से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन क्लैट ने 2 क्वेश्चंस मुझे याद आ रहे हैं. एक बार पूछा था क्लैट ने बायोडिकम्पोजर का नाम क्या है, जो कि इंडिया ने बनाया था, तो उसका पूसा बायोडिकम्पोजर नाम था. पंजाब और हरियाणा में पिराली जला देते थे लोग, जिसकी वजह से दिल्ली की हवा दूषित हो रही थी. पिराली, यू नो, द रिमेनिंग ऑफ द क्रॉप हार्वेस्ट वाज बर्न डाउन बिकॉज new cropping season will come and everything, and a lot of smoke used to come along with the winter retreating monsoon, that is October November, and used to create smog like situation in the entire Delhi, because of which the air quality of Delhi was significantly deteriorating. So this Indian Council of Agriculture Research, uh, Pusa campus, came out with a biodecomposer, a liquid that you can sprinkle on your fields, and you don't need to burn the residue, crop residue. It will decompose naturally. And this Pusa biodecomposer came as a question in CLAT very recently. Second question that I can remember is, uh, this was post-COVID era, when a lot of African countries were expecting India to provide them with cost-effective wheat and rice uh, as food. So India decided to supply a lot of rice to many of these African nations, and wheat as well. But India had to take a U-turn on the wheat export because we had a wheat crisis in India due to less monsoon and wastage of the crops. So we were not able to send wheat to Egypt, and that was there in the news. So CLAT consortium basically gave a question. India is the world's largest producer of. Recently, India surpassed 50 million tons export. Sorry, $50 billion export. In which among the following crop varieties? Rice was the answer for that question. And because agriculture is related to economy, economy is related to export, import, and international relations. And in that way, these agroeconomic areas are exclusively important for CLAT and AILET examination. And that is why, if there is any scientific innovation with respect to varieties of crops which addresses the problems of food security in India, you should remember the names of the rice. Along with that, if you will look into this infographic, you will find 2, 3 additional facts which can also be important for your examination. Number one, that if you will look into Pusa rice, you will find that it is developed by Indian Council of Agriculture Research, New Delhi, Dr. Vishwanathan C. Remember the name? Pusa C. Dr. Vishwanathan C. If you will look into Kamla rice, you will find it is developed by Dr. Satendra K. Mangrothia, and Dr. R. M. Sundaram and team, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, Hyderabad. So one rice is developed, Pusa is developed by ICAR Delhi, Kamla is developed by ICAR Hyderabad. The technologies which are used are also different. If you will look into Pusa, it is developed using CRISPR Cas9 technology. If you will look into Kamla, you will find it is developed using SDN1 genome editing technology, which is editing in popular Samba Masuri, the high yielding variety for rice cultivation. If CLAT goes into this depth, we are totally thrown under the bus. Okay, if CLAT goes into this depth, a lot of aspirants will falter on this part, and this will make the question difficult, not easy, difficult. But considering that we have 120 days for CLAT and I have highlighted this particular fact to you, you should be the one marking it correctly. Also, I told you this PDF shall be available over my Telegram, HEYY, hey HVT. You can drop your message here. I will share the PDF to you. Okay, so associated with this were two possible questions. India became the first country in the world to develop which of the following in 2025, and the answer is genome edited rice varieties. India became the first in the world. Which of the following two genome edited rice varieties were released by India? Answer is Dhan 100 Kamla and Pusa DST rice 1. Now, the last topic was equally important. रक्षिता उपाध्याय इज आस्किंग एआईओएम का रिजल्ट कैसे चेक करना है. एआईओएम का रिजल्ट बेटा अनाउंस हो जाएगा दो तीन दिन में. यू विल कम टू नो अबाउट दिस. ओके, now this Maratha military landscape has been added as into the UNESCO World Heritage List site, and 44 sites in India, 44 sites in India are there in UNESCO World Heritage List site. And there is this particular body, International Council of Monuments and Sites. There is this World Heritage Day, if I remember correctly, 7th of April. There is this UNESCO's World Heritage Intangible Heritage List and Register of Memoir that was there in the news. So, how many sites India has in World Heritage List? 44 sites. What was the 43rd site? The 43rd site was these homes of Assam, burial grounds of Assam. Okay. Now, what are the facts that we need to remember? So, we need to remember everything about Maratha military infrastructure. We need to figure out the history around Maratha Empire. We need to figure out how Lohagarh fort was different from Shivneri fort. We need to also figure out how many forts are there in Maharashtra. There is only one from Tamil Nadu. What is the name of that fort? And to your easiness, I have already prepared that particular, you can say, topics like this. So whatever is there in the news is given in these beautiful slides for you to prepare. Okay, there from where you can read about all of these forts. Now coming to question number 38, consider the following statements regarding Maratha fortresses. Maratha fortresses are being considered for inclusion in UNESCO World Heritage List. This is correct. If you will look into second part, inclusion in the UNESCO list aims to recognize and protect sites of outstanding national value. Because of the word national, this statement will go wrong. International, it should be international, and that is why only one is correct, and that is why the answer would be A. Okay, and coming to the last question, second last question, how many major fortifications are included? So 11 are there in Maharashtra and one is there in Tamil Nadu, and the answer is this: 12 in total, 11 in Maharashtra, one in Tamil Nadu. What is the time period within which these forts were built, adapted, or expanded? So it was between 17th and 19th century. the fall of the Mughal Empire, the rise of the Maratha Empire, and then came the Britishers. Sir, I have reached a benchmark of around 85 to 105 numbers, but my score is very fleeting around these 20 numbers gap. What has to be done to have a strong 85 on 100 numbers, sir? Tell me in the end, please. Sarvasyapi, I believe that this would require personalized attention. I need to look into your mock scores, previous 5 mock scores. Also, I need to sit with you for like half an hour. It can be on a Zoom session, Google Meet session, phone session, where I will figure out with respect to All India Open Mock, what were the kind of questions you had marked incorrect. We can do this for next consecutive 5 mocks. Based on that, I will be able to tell you what are unavoidable mistakes, what were avoidable mistakes. Basically, the point of view is that by looking into the kind of questions you are marking wrong, I would be able to figure out what is the gap, because you have surpassed the biggest roadblock, that is the number of attempts. You are already doing good on that part. Now we need to work bit by bit to reduce the number of negatives. So total number of negative questions that you can afford is not more than 15 questions. So we can figure that out. If let's say you are attempting 24 questions in GK and you are getting only 20 correct, then I need to look into these 4 questions which has costed you 1 marks. Why did you mark these 4 questions if they were fact based and you had no idea about? If there were let's say 32 questions in legal section, I need to figure out if you are marking one question wrong in every legal passage, that clearly indicates lack of conceptual clarity or lack of patience. So we need to figure out whether you have conceptual clarity missing, or whether you are impatient while you are marking legal section. And at last, we also need to filter out and devise the perfect mock strategy for a candidate, because there can be no hard and fast game that we all must start with legal, we all must start with GK. It can't be the logic for each and every aspirant. So we need to figure out the sequence of these attempts and the time that we are giving to these particular sections, which helps us in improving the accuracy over a period of, I would say, 30-45 days. So that way, I think it would be very, very difficult to tell you abhi hawa mein तीर चलाने जैसा हो जाएगा, which I would resist from. So get in touch with me. You can contact Alok sir there. He will give you my contact number, and from that we can discuss. You can connect me over Telegram, and there we can discuss and sit down with your mock strategy and everything, and I would be more than happy to help you there. Okay, sir, are we going to get the PDF? Yes, Urvi, you are going to get the PDF, but for that you need to drop a text over Telegram, जहाँ पे मैं आपको ये share कर पाऊँगा. Otherwise इस description के नीचे भी दे देता, but because ये बड़ी raw और वैसी PDF है, इसलिए मैं इसको independently share कर रहा हूँ, वरना एक description link भी आपको दे देते हैं. तो ये थे हमारे 40 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ क्लैट पंचायत एपिसोड 6. अब डजेंट मैटर कितना स्कोर आया, डजेंट मैटर, देखो हो गया टेस्ट जो होना था, प्राइस मिला नहीं मिला, रैंक क्या आई, डजेंट मैटर. मैटर ये करता है कि जो टॉपिक्स थे, आपने अगर टॉपिक्स को देखा होगा पंचायत 6 के एपिसोड में, तो मिक्स्ड बैग था और बहुत रीसेंट था, फ्रॉम मार्च टिल जुलाई. और कुछ ऐसे टॉपिक्स थे जो कि इंटरकनेक्टेड हो सकते हैं अदर टॉपिक्स से. इसीलिए इन टॉपिक्स को प्रिपेयर करते चलिए, फैक्ट्स प्रिपेयर करते चलिए, रिवीजन करते चलिए और अपने मार्क्स को ऑगमेंट करते चलिए. इम्पॉर्टेंट ये नहीं है कि मॉक में मेरे कितने नंबर आए, इम्पॉर्टेंट ये है कि मॉक में जीके में जो टॉपिक्स आए वो मैंने बाद में प्रिपेयर किए कि नहीं किए, क्यूटी मैंने अटेम्प्ट नहीं करी तो क्यों नहीं करी. और इम्पॉर्टेंट ये है एट लास्ट कि पैसेज से जब क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने थे तो मेरे किस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस गलत हुए, कितने गलत हुए. फॉर दैट यू नीड टू री अटेम्प्ट द मॉक, री अटेम्प्ट द negative questions, incorrect questions again at your home, It can't be done in 1 hour, 2 hour. Please don't try to tell me or give me the logic that आंसर की को पढ़ लिया और मॉक एनालिसिस हो गया. It does not happen that way. There is nothing called as mock analysis. Mock analysis is the game of experts, is the game of teachers. So if pool of teacher is coming before you, telling you the entire mock, which again is taking 2.5 hours, if you are sitting down with your own mock, how can you analyze it in just 2 hours? It will take 2 days. Sometimes it takes more than 2 days. So you need to reattempt without timer your incorrect questions, figure out how many questions or how many mistakes were avoidable, and then you need to remember those mistakes. You need to write down your mistakes in the mock paper itself or on a piece of paper. And by the time you appear on the next mock that is conducted on Wednesday or Sunday, you need to revise these mistakes and be prepared that you are not going to commit the same mistake again. So it takes a lot of time and efforts, and it can't be done in just one day. So if your mock analysis is not bringing you results, if even after aggressively attempting over 100 questions, you are still not getting the result, I think there is some problem, some foundational problem in the way you are approaching your mock analysis or mocks maybe. So we need to figure that out and sort it out. Thank you so much, everyone. This was Harshvardhan Tripathi signing off from this particular analysis. Um, Sir, will be there a GK marathon in Jabalpur Center also, Niharika? For that, I think you need to contact Aishwarya sir, a center director. He will be the right person to tell you that. I'm really not versed with this fact. But for sure, why not? If in Bhopal, why not in Jabalpur? Surely it will be there. So we can plan that out. Thank you so much, guys. This was Harshvardhan Tripathi signing off from this particular episode of CLAT Panchayat. The topics for CLAT Panchayat episode 7 will be out by tomorrow. Students, those who want whether you are an LPTN or you are non-LPTN and you want extra study material to practice, extra questions to practice as sectionals, as mocks, uh, whatever it is, you can do by Champions Toolkit, which is available for a very small amount, which will give you over 5,000 questions to practice before your CLAT examination. So all the best for that. You can uh, place your orders with respect to your center in charges. You can place your order even online to avail Champions Toolkit. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next episode of CLAT Panchayat. Till then, keep hustling hard. All the very best.